Hello and good evening, everyone.
Are we live?
Before we,
Yeah, we're live. Over to you.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. Before we begin the webinar, I request everybody to please switch on their camera so that we can have a very interactive webinar. Please do so.
Everyone. Are we live?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay. So, hello, I am Ms. Mahima Shirshetty, an incoming final year mechanical engineering student from National Institute of Technology, Surat, and I am your host for this webinar today, which is titled as The Importance of Mentorship, Career Prerequisites, and Career Opportunities, and it is organized by BRATS. So just a small introduction about BRATS. BRATS is a personalized community for top-notch professionals of the engineering, advertising, and marketing industries, and it stands for Brand, Research, Advertising, Technology, and Strategies. It is already creating a buzz across board. So let us watch first a glimpse of what Captain BRATS has to say. So there's a short video. If we could have that, Priyanshi, please play.
India is the largest demographic education hub. Still, there are about 4 lakhs of students going abroad for higher education year on year. But one side, if I'm seeing, a lot of Indians are actually leading global corporates. That's the beauty of Indian talent, which needs to be pulled out. BRATS. Now, BRATS, what is BRATS? Everybody's hearing, you need to know what is BRATS. BRATS is Brands, Research, Advertising, Technology, and Strategies. What we are actually trying to do out here. So our last 3 years research developed this platform to connect industry and institutions. What are platforms we actually need to connect? We want you to get ready for the industry while you're in the institute itself. You are thoroughly going through your curriculums, but there are a lot of real-time experiences, case studies, live projects, courses maybe, and that has to be enrolled into your internships, otherwise recruitments. That's what we are here to bring out through your BRATS. My name is Suresh Kumar Kurapati and I'm the captain for BRATS. We already have about 100 students associated with us and a lot of students actually helping us to grow within the campuses, being our campus ambassadors. That's what we look forward to, and I welcome you all, and let's grow together. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, Priyanshi. Okay, so everyone, please switch on your cameras. I'm requesting you again so that we can have an interactive seminar. Okay, so the guest speaker for today is Sir Namish Agarwal. I would like to give a brief information about him. Mr. Nimish is a sales and marketing professional, FMCG, and consumer internet. Over the years, he has managed iconic consumer brands from Britannia, Bourbon, Light Hearts to Dulux Paints, and now heads marketing for Naukri.com and other recruitment businesses of InfoEdge Group. A full-stack marketer with hands-on experience in innovation, communication, performance, B2B, and PR. His passion lies in storytelling. Other than his engagement with InfoEdge, he is involved with early-stage startup consulting. We welcome you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us in the webinar.
Thank you so much.
Now I would like to introduce to you our moderator for the webinar, the Captain BRATS, Mr. Suresh Kumar Purati. Mr. Suresh has power-packed 2 decades experience in BFSI and media in the stream of sales, marketing, strategy, training, and is also a startup specialist. He founded Umbrella Eggs, Private Limited in November 2013 and created IPs like Auto Circuit in the year 2014, the Activation Venues Forum TAVF in the year 2016, and BRATS in May 2019. So I welcome you, sir, as the moderator of this webinar, and over to you now.
Thank you, Mahima. That's a detailed introduction. I don't need to do any more job on that. I suppose, yeah, am I audible very clearly? Am I clear? Hi, Namish. Very
Yes,
good
sir.
evening. And yeah. Thank you so much for your time. And when I requested last year, I suppose this is the time we met and we have launched Delhi Brats event, I suppose. And, after 1 year, we're meeting on digital platform. The plan to launch Brats was from online to offline, offline to online. But because of COVID, we completely changed our strategies towards the, online and digital platforms. And yes, you are also part of a digital portal you handling the bigger portfolio, and that too about importance of career prerequisites, career opportunities, and mentorship. So these three things I would like to hear from you, and on behalf of our students, we would like to know a few of the questions, and how well on a personal front you actually reach certain levels, and these all these things we would be love to discuss with you and learn with you. So welcome. I wanted to actually circulate the first question, how it is now, as we were just discussing, before we came on live about how recruitments have actually changed, big time, and how you're recruiting online, and also COVID effect on employment also, came in the picture. So is anything changed, in terms of recruitment, before and after COVID?
This is a sea change. The fact that you and me are not meeting face to face and shaking hands, and being on a digital platform, sums it up. There's a lot of stuff that has changed. It's no surprise that the jobs in the market, especially the white collar ones, have gone down by about 50%. I work with Naukri, and this is a public data, so I can quote it. Naukri every month takes out a job speak index. The job speak index is essentially, it talks about the number of jobs in the market, new jobs in the market. So it went down by 65% in the month of April, 60% in the month of May, almost 50% in the month of June. It is sequentially moving up, but YOY we are still down. So a lot has changed. There are segments which have been completely destroyed. Look at what's the situation of retail. Industries like hospitality, hotels, uh, uh, airlines, aviation, uh, FMCG, and you wouldn't believe the lot of e-commerce companies, because of this supply chain disruption, they have seen a lot of problem. Barring essential FMCG, and I happen to be part of few in my career, barring essential FMCG, a large part of FMCG has been disrupted, because in some place there is a packaging problem, in some place there is raw material problem. It's a full pipeline, and if there is one break in the pipeline, there's disruption. And when companies take hit on revenue, the business model comes under pressure. It is not a question of whether people who've been furloughed right now, they're good enough or not. The question is, can the company afford them, and is it the time that they would want to continue to afford them, or would they want to hire somebody like that 6 months down the line? Like we were having a conversation with a team at Uber. They have kind of let off a substantial amount of people, and they reached out to Naukri to kind of understand, can we work something in terms of how do we, these are good people and we are under pressure because of things,
Yes.
because of the pandemic. Can we kind of help as a portal, get them find jobs somewhere else, because people are not being let off right now because they're bad.
Correct. So, likewise, such a certain kind of changes happened. So, do you think in the recruitment from an organizational point of view, the quality of recruitment has become a little more stringent, or maybe it will be more of how? So, any more from an organizational point of view in the recruitment changes? And if I ask you, maybe after COVID, what is that, an organization would be looking from supposingly if it is a fresher, like a lot of students here are here, what an organization would be looking from a student, that can be a right candidate for them. So after COVID situation.
Cool. See, in terms, I'll answer the first question first, Suresh. In my understanding of the category and with the people that we work with, there is a change in terms of how organizations are evaluating candidate. And this may vary. What I'm going to say may vary from one industry to another industry. Some industry have seen a lot of benefit. Some industries have not. Okay. The across a larger set of industries and hiring, what is right now happening is that companies are focusing on hiring the most essential and critical position. The expansion plans have been put on hold. Like for example, if I were to give an example of an FMCG company, they want to take Madhya Pradesh as a state into 5 subparts, and they want to have 5 people managing each part so that they have more penetration. Correct? Now, those plans have been put on hold because they don't see this expansion is going to help them right now when a lot of shops are closed, a lot of disruption is happening. It's also not safe for them to onboard people at this point in time because it's a high touch, sales is a high touch role. So there is a deep sense of understanding in the companies that roles which are critical to revenue, roles which are critical to delivery, roles which are critical to customer and consumer experience are the roles that they are filling faster. Some of the other hirings that are done in certain support function, some of the other hirings that are done for expansion are right now are being deferred. That's one part of it. The second part of it is uh, there is always a hiring budget that the hiring manager has. For example, I represent marketing. So I will have a budget that will come from a business head, etc., about hiring, right? Now, a lot of these budgets are under review because when the business is down 40%, 50%, so as a hiring manager, the responsibility lies that if the company in this pandemic time is giving me money for headcount, I better get a guy who is worth it. Okay. The third big trend that is happening is that a lot of companies which are in the startup ecosystem, which are at a stage where they've got funding and they want to expand, and some other companies as well. This is they've realized that this is the time where you will get talent at a slightly lower cost. So I've also seen a trend where people are picking talent smartly. There are a lot of good institutes in our country. The kids are extremely bright, and we have some of them with us today. And they know that in a normal scenario, this college would not entertain me because my salary and the CTC that I offer in this college is lower than the benchmark that they have for themselves. Okay, but they are getting an entry into those colleges because students are not getting placed. So there are
True,
three
very true.
interesting things that are happening.
So likewise, this happened in 2008 also, when the
That's true.
recession happened, a lot of startups actually took place, and even though not only a salary basis, but it starts from the infrastructure costs, and a lot of costs have actually, gone down, and that was the right time when Uber and, such kind of, giants also took place, and which has been succeeded. A positive note, what I see, such kind of scenario, yes, there would be a lot of opportunities will be rising, and of course, the more and more opportunities will come. That is what is my positive thinking. And second thing, when you must be dealing with a lot of organizations, this CGPA, the cumulative grade point average system, is it still a criterion, or you find such kind of companies which you find this is really needed now?
Um, I know people would love to say that it is not important. I think that's the popular opinion, and my humble submission is that it's very important. It's very important. Make I'm not saying that people who have low CGPA can't crack it in life. There are enough and more underdog stories that we've seen in Hindi cinema, English cinema, and so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is, look at the kind of companies that come to our campuses. And I've been in campus not a very long time back. The companies that come on our campus are largely from BFSI, IT, And these companies, they hire in volume. They hire a large chunk of people from a specific campus. How would they shortlist? They cannot physically meet. And I've been to some of the campus drives. It is physically impossible to screen 300 students in 12 hours. That is where they
Sure.
use this filter of CGPA. Now, some of very intelligent guys who could do extremely well in certain roles in sales, business development, even marketing, research, etc. Not research that much, but when I said research is more from a data science standpoint, because they are bright people. It's just that they had different priorities in life at that point in time, and they miss
True.
out because companies come uh, and they say if anybody below 7 out of 10 is something that we are not going to. So they're trying to filter whether it's a
Yeah.
right metric or wrong metric. The jury is still out on that. But essentially,
Sure.
the problem is that it's an employer's market when it comes to fresher. We have a lot of people as from a job seeker standpoint, and we have fewer jobs. So it's always going to be an employer's market. And as long as it is employer's market, there is some or the other filter that will be put to screening out. Unfortunately, CGPA is one that is in existence in fashion and continues to thrive.
Great. So yeah, people should not forget it and take things for granted. But yes, they should be focusing there also. That's a great point, Nibin. And we have, I know, I think a year back also I shared when we met in the month of August when we're launching Delhi brands. The kind of freshers who, when they are getting into opportunities, the retaining ship nearly over 25%. Supposedly, the first 6 months itself, a fresher is actually 75% of people are thinking of dropping out of the first jobs. So the retail, and even though they survive for 1 year, the average increments are not that great. So I want to understand from a recruiter point of view, why do you think the many of our freshers are not able to perform at the best, even though they can? But why? So you agree with this first thing? If you do not agree, it's a separate question. This is my view. But if you think it is true, then why? If you can just throw some light on this.
See, I do agree with what you said, Suresh, and I've seen some bit of it, and I was a fresher. So more than a recruiter, I will offer my 2 cents as a job seeker. Okay, when you move from a student to one who has a manager kind of a hierarchy, etc. Uh, there is a lot of acclimatization that is required. Okay, that's one part of it. Second part of it is if you look at the fresher workforce, they are they're from very different cities. Somebody is from Delhi and somebody is from Bhopal. Somebody is from Patna and somebody is from Tamil Nadu. Now, different sets of people. One is acclimatization to the hierarchy, that I have a boss, he has a boss, and he has a boss. I have to come at 9, so I can't watch Netflix till 4 o'clock. It's not college, right? So one is acclimatization of the role that you're performing. Second is the acclimatization in terms of culture. A lot of people, if you look at the problem or the reality of our economy is that 85% of the jobs are in top 6 cities. While from a job seeker standpoint, these top 6 cities only contributes to about 45% of job seeker, which means the balance of the job seekers who fill this 85% of the jobs, they don't come from metros. They come from towns that I just mentioned. A
Correct.
lot of cultural acclimatization is required. A lot of people, because engineering colleges have thrived in our country, every corner you will have a pawn shop and you will have an engineering college. That's
Very
the
true. Very true.
that's the framework from an education standpoint. So a lot of people have always been in their hometown. They haven't gone to a Delhi or a Bombay or a Chennai. They struggle.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people do not thrive in their first job, not because the companies, the bosses are atrocious. We all would love to hear that, and some of them really are. But a large part of it is because they are not able to make this transition from a small town boy studying in his engineering college next to house or nearby. You're getting the gist of what I'm saying, and working in a corporate where the culture is different, the environment is different, the people are different. I've seen a lot of people from a different part of India struggling in a very different part of India. They can't thrive. And at that point in time, the natural course of action is flight. So they escape, they try and look out for a job. Okay. And after having done that 2, 3 times, they realize it's not with the job, it's with them. And then they start, and hence their career span in a company starts increasing. Okay. Now that's one part of it. The other part of it is one needs to understand that the other segment of people who are able to make that transition, who are able to acclimatize to this new environment, they start measuring themselves, because as I said, a large part of companies and industries that are hiring people, they're hiring people in volume. So there is a peer benchmarking that starts from day one. There is a race that starts from day one. Okay. People start measuring themselves, and that this peer pressure, it also starts making you give an illusion that you're not doing well. You might be doing well, or you might be average, which is absolutely fine. But the thing that, this friend of mine has got an off-site opportunity, this friend of mine has got a meeting with the business head or the marketing head, or this person is working on this brand, etc. These soft metrics which do not have a long-term impact on your career start playing on your mind. It's like, यार मैंने Facebook पे comment डाला है, कोई मैंने photo डाला है Insta पे, कोई comment नहीं आया. So it start eating you up. So these are these artificial pressure in the job, which is also reality, because many fresher join together compared to a lateral person. One or two lateral guy will join together. But when it comes to campuses, there are a lot of people who join together. There's a batch that gets formed, and the moment the batch gets formed, the rat race start.
Okay. So there is one comment, came on YouTube. So the very interesting event, that was my next question too. These days, freshers, want to work smart, not hard work. My question is the smart working system is actually killing the hard working system or process?
It's a fantastic. I think you summed it up.
That is well.
You summed it up pretty well. I don't have data around it, so bear with me. This is just my personal observation, and that's my side. I'm pretty sure the person that I'm observing on the other side might have an equally atrocious view of me. It's quite possible. But what I've seen is that the desire to announce to the world that one has arrived has become extremely intense.
Can you please elaborate? Can you just elaborate this, please?
So, with the advent of this portals, etc., the social networking, the professional networking portals, it is very, it has become extremely, extremely important to people to tell the other set of their friends, the colleagues, the batchmates, I'm doing well in life.
Correct.
I have taken a promotion in 2 years, while other friend of mine has been slogging for 4 years. So this ability and the desire to make jump to the next level very quickly. Like I interview people who are fairly young, 2 years of experience, 3 years of experience. 6 months down the line, after getting joining the company, they start feeling restless. कि अभी मैं कर रहा हूँ project, अभी what is next for me? Dude, 6 months, just 6 months. I've been doing this for 11 years, and I still don't ask what's my next move. Okay, you've been doing it for 6 months. So I think while it is important to be ambitious, and I certainly admire people who are ambitious, because you have to be most loyal to your own career. Nobody else gives a shit, honestly speaking. Nobody else. True. So you have to be loyal to your own career, but you have to also understand what is not right for your career. If you're always on the next thing, if you are always seeking the next high in career, it's going to be very, very difficult. Career is not a T20. It's a test match. There'll be many swingers. I had a swinger yesterday with my boss. There'll be many, and an experienced player, he doesn't start, he doesn't step out when he sees a swinging ball coming in. A rookie starts to hit because that's what he knows. For him, everything is a new high. It's very important to understand that career is till 60 years. You start at 25, you're not going to retire at 30 and sip brandy in Miami beaches, etc. It all happens in films. In real life, you have to slog. Even the CEO slogs at the age of
Absolutely.
65, 70. That's how
True.
the economy is, and that's how our values are. Now, the point is, if you have to sustain your career till 65, 60, and God keep all of us healthy, why not till 70, 75? The career spans are also increasing these days. It is important that you understand that, if something hasn't happened this year, if a promotion hasn't happened this year, it'll happen next year. Don't worry, don't quit. If you are in a good company, if you think the company values you, if the company is providing you a learning opportunity, just don't quit because your friends have got promoted. It's a very small high that one is chasing.
So that's a very practical thing which needs to be regularized and follows. So the kind of gap in the system understanding for the students about what is happening in the industry. So there is a lot of gap which is there already, which is why Brad's an initiative we have taken up. On a personal front, what do you think? What is mentorship for you? Because as per me, mentorship is something which plays a very bigger role, which is not actually a right clear cut model which is installed in Indian education system, and how it can change students throughout the process towards their industry experience. Because the person who actually get enters from an institute to industry, the institute where he's paying to learn, and when he gets into the in industry, he gets paid to work, and he becomes a more responsible. So I mean to understand if this is what is missing. What do you think, how the mentorship according to you, and how it can help for the students, if you really think it is really important?
Suresh, I couldn't agree with you more. In my mind, mentorship plays two important roles, and both of them are important. One is the mental equilibrium, the counseling that one requires in this journey called corporate. Okay,
Yeah.
that's one part, and I'll elaborate on it in a minute. And the second, as you very rightly articulated, is about that exposure to industry, that exposure to what's happening in the market. Uh, the languages that I learned in my engineering colleges, I have never been able to apply them, not because I'm not in IT, but because that's not how you work in IT. A lot of engineers who join an IT company, the large IT companies, the great IT companies that our country has produced, they have to teach people everything that they've learned. They have to reteach them again. They run classes. Okay. So yes, there is a gap in terms of what is taught and what is practiced. There are gaps, and that's an important thing that a mentor can help, because he's in the industry and you are leading by books, which is also very important. But if you build a framework where you have access to people, it will fill that gap. That's what Suresh was talking about, and I completely agree with him. The second part is also very important, and I'll give you an example here. See, corporate life is tough. As I just said, it's a test match. There'll be tough days, there'll be good days. Typically, when you have a tough day in office, you of course have a friend circle. You go out, you have a party, and you bitch about your day in office. Absolutely fine, as long as it is being used to vent out. Okay. A lot of times, what happens is this friend who are equally dumb as you are at that point in time, they become your counselor. Just imagine your friend teaching you, your friend treating you for a disease. It's like that. It's harmful. Never take advice from your friends when it comes to career. Never take advice from your friends. Party with them.
There's
Enjoy
a
with them.
first there's a first time I'm hearing from one CMO that never taken advice from your friend. So
Because
this is
your
something
friends
which
will give
I
you
have learned
advice.
today.
Your friends will give you advice which they have never, practically they have never practiced in real life. कहीं से सुना है, किसी ने कुछ बताया, उनको ऐसा लगता है. You can't gamble your career on that. भाई बॉस को बजा दे. नहीं, don't do that. It's not advisable. And this is where a mentorship comes in place. A guy who's more experienced, a
Very
guy
true.
who's run this cycle multiple times, use that network, use that shoulder to take advice on life decisions, on career decision. Because have your friends for venting out, they de-stress you. They're very important in life. But for important career decisions, you should rely on a mentor who's seen this many times.
That's a good one with the right example, Namish. I'll come back, in a personal front. But before that, I would like to know one thing.
Sure.
Like, COVID actually taught us, personally me, to diversify in many ways, in terms of how we're discussing about how it's business. So I like, the ground IPs, what we do, and it is actually got big hit. And you gave a lot of examples like textile, fashion, FMCG, and so many industries have actually, taking airways. So a lot of industries are actually taking little slowdown. Of course, the big time also affected. A lot of job losses also happened. So do you think, looking at that tomorrow's position, the mindset of, okay, मैंने engineering किया तो मैं engineer बनूंगा, मैं ये किया तो ये बनूंगा. So do you think the students needs to look out on a broader viewpoint of career opportunities, and will it be actually opening on a big gig for them?
See, what this pandemic has taught us is essentially it has digitized everything. Okay,
True.
India would have taken few years to be as digital that we've become in the last 2 weeks. Okay, when I say last 2 weeks, it means after the pandemic, in 2 weeks, offices became remote. Um Stuff like that. I had a newspaper. I've not seen the face of newspaper in last 5 months. I couldn't do morning chores without a newspaper. I was so addicted to it. Now because of pandemic, etc., I haven't seen. So this thrust on digitization has happened because of the pandemic. Now why am I saying this is because it is linked to a very, very important thing that we see, which is upskilling. If you speak to somebody who is in an academy, Coursera, etc., their visitor numbers are going through the roof. The traffic on the platform is going through the roof. We floated a survey, and 45% of the people said that they are already pursuing one course or the other, and a large percentage of them have said that they have a plan in 6 months. Now, what it hap- what it is doing right now is that a lot of people are open to learning new things, which is very important because learning is a lifelong process. Sometimes you get into a job and you realize, yeah, I'm not cut out for it. I'm a round hole in a square peg. If you continue to learn things that you like, it is possible for you at some point in time to make a shift. Now, the point I'm trying to drive home here is the role of pandemic is to open that door. I don't think it will lead to a very lasting pattern in terms of how hiring is done. In terms of few things might become online, etc. But the fundamentals of hiring, the fundamentals of why people join a job, why people leave a job, those will still remain. But one thing that it has opened is that you can do stuff online and you don't have to have physical presence, and it's not that tough, and you have all the time that you need and you can do it.
That's a great point, and online learnings are actually increasing in a very large way. Adding to this point, how important is that never dying hunger or maybe learning for students, and what is that one point you would like to highlight? Because you come from an engineering background and then now into marketing, and you diversified yourself. You might have also picked up, personally, okay, what is that I wanted to learn more, and there is always a hunger to learn new things in life. So what do you want to give one idea or one advice to students, like how they need to keep the learning pitch in their lives, whether it is online, offline, mentorship, however? So how you need to look at it?
See, my simple submission here is that if you love your career, if you really love your career, you have to be on that learning treadmill. If you stop, the treadmill is going to throw you off. Career is like a treadmill. Okay, you have to keep pace with your career, because you will see umpteen people in your life who are very, very old for the role that they do. They have not kept pace with that treadmill. I'll give you an example. I'm a marketer. I've been doing marketing for 12, 13 years now. The kind of marketing that I started with, which is TV campaigns, outdoor, it's passe. I'm not saying it's completely dead, but there's so much happening on digital ecosystem. I mean, all of us who are there in this call, 18, 19, 20 people, how much time do we really spend with TV these days? How much time do we really spend? How can somebody market a brand to you on TV when you don't spend time? So if people don't progress, now imagine a marketing head or a CMO who's learned traditional forms of marketing 10, 15 years back. And if that person has not grasped, now he's a head of marketing, head of marketing is head of the function, very, very senior person. If that person has not kept pace with this new ways of marketing, new channels of marketing. I was having a chat in my office today, and I was telling my boss that in India, about 200 minutes per day, people are spending on digital. 200 minutes per day, and almost 45% of that 200 minutes are on social media. If you are not harnessing, and the amount of time that is spent on TV is less than 50 minutes. Can you imagine? So if you are not learning, and while I'm giving you this example of marketing, it is true for every other thing. Look at how data science has progressed, how big data, what is happening in the world of artificial intelligence and machine learning. None of this was there 10 years back. And the stuff that we're doing right now will not be relevant after 10 years. So if you are not on that treadmill, the treadmill is going to throw you back, and that treadmill is your career.
Superb. So that is, very clear-cut picture. There is some new, policy scheme in the education system, and I would like to ask your opinion on that. A skill versus certificates, the courses versus skills. And you might have seen on LinkedIn, it actually trending topic, so skills versus certificates. So what is your take on this, and how it is impacting or maybe changing the era of recruitment and employment for today's students?
Honestly, on this platform, I wouldn't get into the details of debating the national education policy. I'm pretty sure government has extremely good intent at heart, and it is good to see some changes happening. It's important to see smoke. If you don't see smoke, you know things are dead. Okay. Now, sometimes you can always debate the nuances of it, but it is important to see action. And my view on certificates and skills is that both of them have their place. To be extremely honest, it's not that certification is absolutely bullshit. It is not, and I'll tell you why. There are a lot of companies that hire basis certification. A lot of hiring that happens in IT industry is basis certification. You have to pay a huge amount of money to great companies that I don't want to name right now, which have certifications which are time-bound certification. You have to do that every 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Now, sometimes these certifications help you get a job. Sometimes these certifications help you up in your career. I'll give you an example, which is which is for slightly more senior people. A lot of time, there are people who have risen through the rank. They have not done an MBA. They are not a manager, but they still take a distance learning MBA certification from Harvard. Why do they take that certification? They're already doing well in their company and they're not going to change a job. It is because that certification from Harvard has a value. It's important. So it's not, while people might want to argue that it is completely bullshit, we need to have hardcore skills. But in my view and what I've seen around is that certifications do have a role to play. Okay. You should be very clear and honest with yourself. Extremely honest with yourself. Why are you getting this certification? Do you want to learn? You don't need a certification for learning. Okay. I might not have enough digital certification, but I know pretty well I don't have certification in terms of how sales is done or how traditional marketing is done. Other than my MBA degree, there are enough certifications out there, by the way. It's become a business. I don't have them, but I know I'm pretty good at, and I know that I need to continue to learn.
True.
You have to be honest. Why are you doing a certification? And the second bit is, uh, just because you have a certification, you can maybe get an interview, but you cannot survive the interview. That's very
Very true.
important. Okay. So if you have a certification, you might get shortlisted, because the person who's shortlisting knows nothing about that skill. It is the HR executive who's shortlisting you. She doesn't know what Java is, what Azure is, what microservices is, what AWS is, and so on and so forth, what digital marketing is, because she's an HR executive. पर उसको बोला है कि ये देखना है अपने को, तो वो आपको फिल्टर आउट कर देगी अगर आपके पास वो नहीं है. पर अगर आपके पास वो है, और अगर आपको, इफ यू डोंट नो what are the details of it, how that works, you will flunk the interview. And even if you are able to sweet talk your way through, 6 months into the job, you'll realize that you made a mistake. So be clear, be honest. It's not about just getting a job, because no, then you have to survive the job, and then you will want
Wow.
to run from one position to another position.
Other
So be
one.
clear, be
True.
honest.
That's a great one, Namish, and it is fundamentally whatever I wanted to know from you. Of course, I got all the answers. I want to ask you a very personal question. Your journey, of course, from student to a CMO, and were there any mentor in your life which helped you, and how so you reach certain kind of place, and how does it feel to you now?
See, there are a lot of you're actually right. The concept of mentorship is not very ingrained in the way we work, Suresh. When you said that earlier, you're absolutely right. I've joined as a management trainee from IMT Ghaziabad. I moved from FMCG to paints to internet. In the last 12, 13 years that I've been working, I've worked in three very diverse industries. Very, very different skill sets are required to survive and thrive in these industries. Uh, and I did that consciously, because when I was in FMCD kind of a space, I wanted to learn internet. I don't want to fall off the treadmill. So I wanted to understand what's happening in this space, and hence Naukri happened. And I have been fortunate to work with some really good managers, extremely good managers, and I can call them my mentor. And I've learned this through some hard experiences in life, that never take advice from friends. And I found my mentor in some of the people. Some of them I were reporting into, and some of them were senior people in the organization, and I was extremely intimidated by them. I used to, I'll stop breathing if they pass by me. They had an aura. They were rock stars in the organization. They were marketing heads, sales heads, some very strong people in the. When you work in an organization, there are strong people. Uh, and I was intimidated by them. But I was very surprised that when I reached out to them for help once or twice, they were very humble. They made extra. They were extra sweet to me, because not too many people in our culture, in our workplaces, ask for help. We are too proud to ask for help. And when
Yeah.
you ask for help, you'll be surprised in the way the help pours out. So there are people that I have been intimidated. They were very good, extremely good, and I thought they're very, very senior to me. But when I asked for help, I was very lucky to have them. And hence, these people helped me navigate my career in a direction that turned out to be good for me at the end of the day. It's still work in progress. I'm still not sitting in Miami, with a golf kit. Still work in
Okay.
progress, but I think I've made reasonable decent progress. And mentors and bosses and some senior people in the organization has helped me course correct in case I've made a mistake.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so that's a great one. From officially, you've been doing a lot of other work, and now on the personal level. Now, I just want to take a one question as of now on a YouTube. Mr. Gurmeet Sethi is actually put it up across. So, is mentorship not clearly needed in high school initially? After all, it is the starting point which defines one is headed in life. I think conducting workshops in school would be apt. Do you think you agree with this kind of standards? We need to start mentorship because when we see abroad, the mentorship starts from the high school itself, in a very, very initial stage, where the career counseling and mentorship starts from there itself, and there students choose the mentors. So what do you feel it should be implemented in India also, which is required?
Suresh, I'm sorry, I missed some part of the question. If you could quickly repeat, there was some audio disturbance on the side.
All right. So Gurmeet is asking, so mentorship not clearly needed in school initially. After all, it is the starting point, which defines where one is headed in life. I think conducting workshop in schools would be apt. So he mean to say we need to do
Understood.
workshops, or maybe how you want to do it in mentorship programs in schools, high schools.
Gurmeet, thank you for that question. I'm not an expert in that field, but I'll tell you what my observation is. And because I'm a marketer, it's my job to observe stuff.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, a large part of our schooling is co-ownership between the school teachers and the parents. A large part of mentorship happens from home. I've seen my wife, who's after my kid's life. The pandemic has made his life miserable because now he's got his mom 24 by 7. And I also see the impact that my wife's mentoring of sorts is getting him. He was weak in certain subjects. He had certain things. He used to get very angry, but because he's not in school, he's with my wife. I can see that green shoots of things happening. Okay, now if I were to kind of be honest here, yes, mentorship might become important when you're talking about students in slightly senior classes. Okay, because that's what happens is, for a younger kid, his parents are his role models and supermans and Wonder Woman, etc. But when you
true.
cross a certain age, you become far more you become a little more open to the world and a little more close to your own parents. Now that's when your parents' advice starts biting you, you know,
True.
and that's when I think this gap could be filled by a mentor, somebody who's a third party, somebody who's neutral, somebody who can impart life lessons. So I do see there's a very, very important uh, gap that a mentorship at schooling can kind of fit in. But in my humble opinion, it should be slightly senior classes, because that's when kids start getting alienated from their own parents and other support system.
So normally, how it happens in other countries, when the guy, the boys and girls getting into high schools,
Right.
when the career counseling happens, that point of time, there is actually a kind of a group meeting happens with the mentors and within the school, and the students actually choose the mentors. So that kind of a program happens, and it is completely on a very different level altogether, which happens. But yes, what you said is, till the high school, mata pita comes on the first gurus, and they groom. Of course, I completely agree. And yes, it can be some kind of a mentorship from the third party would be required in terms of showing up the path, and as a neutral kind of a commitment. Of course,
Right.
that really helps. That's great. And if we have anybody who, with some kind of questions, most welcome from our audience on Zoom, or maybe from YouTube, please. Anybody has any questions, please raise their hands. I can take them up.
See, only two things can happen: either everything has been understood or nothing has been understood.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have someone from our Zoom audience who is raising hand. Shubham,
Where is it? Shubham Sadarang.
yeah.
Yeah, a very good evening, sir.
Hi, Shubham.
It has been a really good session throughout.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, yeah, I have been through a phase where I have got interviewed and questioned about the same, and the question was always related to the gap I had between the management course I am doing right now and the graduation that I did in way back in 2016. So every person who had me interviewed had this question that you have a large gap between your post graduation degree and your graduation, and it is around 4 years. So
Okay.
why do you think that we, after getting you in a college, we are going to get you through a placement, or any company would like to hire you, because there are so many bright candidates which were just fresher out of their graduation and they are in the college. So I don't know how many people go through it, but I have gone through 5 or 6 interviews where the college hirers that came for interview asked me this, that we couldn't get you in our college because you have this large gap, and we are really afraid that we wouldn't be able to get you into the placement. And that stuck me really hard. So I really wanted to know that how important is this for me, because I'm the person who is experienced in it. Like, I am the person who has been through those gaps. So how should I take it? I mean, because
I
I'm sure. Yeah.
I understand your situation. If you uh, if I were to kind of add my 2 cents onto your situation, you don't realize, but you are at an advantage. And I'll tell you why you are at an advantage. You know one question out of that question paper. Okay. A lot of people who walk into that interview
Yeah.
room, they don't know what people are going to ask them. You know that this one question they're going to ask you, be absolutely honest about it. Rehearse it in the mirror. While, whether it's Zoom or whether it's face to face, if you know that this is one question that has kind of given you hard times, I think you should own it up. Instead, you should create an honest. I'm not saying that you should lie, but if you search a little deeper now, you'll be able to come out with an cracker of an honest answer. Every time in my life, I've been honest and worked on articulation of that honesty. I've come out extremely well. I've come through at all points in time. So you know this
Yeah.
question gets you
Actually,
down.
sir. Yeah. Yes, sir. It
Sorry,
does.
just give me a
Actually,
second
sir,
to
I
complete
am a
what I'm
pass
saying.
out from. Yeah.
Go ahead, go ahead,
Yes. Sorry,
go
sir.
ahead, go ahead. You had an add-on question.
Yeah. Actually, sir, I am a mechanical engineer pass out, and after that, I was only preparing for the exams. And the irony is, whatever college I went for the interview, they asked me this question, and I ended up getting selected just because I could answer them with these honest facts. But the one of the colleges told me that, Shubham, this answer might not work when you are going to pass out from the management college, because their recruiters really grind you on this purpose only. So that's why I wanted to know that whether I should add up to my gap so that I could cover it up, or I should go with the honest answers.
See, that's up to you. I'm telling you what I have learned in life. You have to you know that there's a gap, and you know that you get stuck. Okay. First of all, take a piece of paper and write down what you were doing while you were preparing. I'm pretty sure you'll be doing 30 other things while you were preparing. We don't realize that. Okay. You must be helping out your parents. You must be doing something around a community. You might be nurturing a passion. You might be trying your hands of learning a new skill. Put all of that on a piece of paper and then craft a story. And I'm not saying that you lie, but craft a story. Sometimes these things we don't articulate, and Europeans do that pretty well. I was on a sabbatical. क्या sabbatical क्या होता है मतलब sabbatical तो समझ में नहीं आता हम लोग को, right? But they say sabbatical with so much of swag that recruiter डर जाता है कि भाई इससे मैं पूछ नहीं सकता इसने sabbatical क्यों लिया.
There's a pride in it.
There's a pride in it. I wanted to search myself. I want to look within my soul, and they get away with it. And we do it all the time. We Indians do that. We take a cup of tea in our hand, and we're always searching for answers where none exist. You getting my point? So put all of that on a piece of paper and
Right.
create your story and rock it. Next time this question comes to you, just rock it.
Okay.
Brilliant, yeah,
Thanks a lot.
brilliant,
Thanks a
brilliant.
lot.
I hope Shubham, you're gonna try this for sure.
Yes, sir. I would
All right.
definitely.
Okay, so we have one more question, Nimish.
Okay.
Shruti from Delhi University. As you said, CGPA is important. Can't companies change the criteria of hiring students by some test which can focus on skill sets and compensating the required by them, competencies required by them?
So it's a very good question, and
Very good question.
it's a very good question, and these things are happening in the market. There are a lot of smaller companies, there are a lot of emerging companies which are understanding that some of these numbers, etc., cannot define the be all and end all of a person. Correct. uh, and hence a lot of companies are not only doing skill tests, they're also doing psychometric assessment, because how you perform under pressure, how do you perform when you work with teams spread over different geographies, is equally important as how good you are at a certain skill. So some of companies are imbibing these things. I think it will take a little more time. The reality right now is that, especially when you're a fresher, as I said, it's an employer's market. There are less jobs, there are more people, and in order to fit the round pegs in square holes, there has to be a metric, and unfortunately that metric right now is CGPA. uh, I'm not saying that people who have a low CGPA, I had a low CGPA, people who had a low CGPA should lose hope. There are enough and more success stories around us. So I'm not saying that if you have a low CGPA, you're done for life. No, that's not what I'm implying here. But what I'm saying is that, make no mistake, it is important. And if it is not there in your favor, as I told the gentleman before that, you know that this is a question that is going to come your way, and you are at an advantage. You don't realize it. You are at an advantage because you're getting that time to prepare for that one question that you surely know is going to come your way, and you have the opportunity to rock it.
Brilliant. That's a wonderful one. So we need to wait for such kind of things coming in the future. Any more questions, guys? Any questions from YouTube? We can wait. Shubham, Neha, Belani, any questions? I think we're sorted. Mahima, any questions from you? Our host for the evening.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very insightful session.
Did I
Superb.
depress you?
No, not
No.
at all.
Just
Okay,
it.
so Jasmine Gupta actually posted some question out here again. Many are already jobless. Overseas opportunities are not accessible to many now. So what is your take on this?
See, this is the harsh truth of today's market. Okay. uh, and I've picked up some wisdom from a lot of CHROs and TA heads that I was interacting as part of my job at Naukri.com, and some wonderful advices have come from people who take hiring decisions in and out. I'm just gonna sum up that advice. There are less jobs. A lot of people are getting furloughed. In a lot of companies, salary cuts have happened or salaries have been held back, etc. Uh, my my estimate is that this is not going to last for a very very long time. My estimate is that this is not going to be the be all and end all. We are going to emerge sooner or later, and hopefully sooner than later, right? Look at the signs around you. Yes, of course, there is harsh reality that we see in newspaper in terms of fatalities, and that's the unfortunate part. But if you look at the mood, I already sense to be a little more upbeat than what it was a couple of months back. Okay. Now, the important thing is, right now it's an employer's market. But if you use this opportunity and time at hand to pick up skill, to differentiate yourself, to do things, pick up freelancing jobs. There are enough and more about there. If there are opportunities of working on a project, which are not paid, please pick them. They will give you experience. They will give you that one line that you can put on your CV, and you would be surprised by things that people notice when they're going through your profile. So just uh, don't just pivot your career right now, that I don't have a job, I've been furloughed, or Falana Dikana has been furloughed, etc. It's temporary. Things are going to start, and once the recruitment picks up, trust me, it's gonna gallop, because there is pent up hunger in India, uh, Indian corporations to
Yeah.
scale, to ramp. And as soon as that happens now, it will become a employee market. You will have many companies lining up for you, and make no mistakes, it will happen. Provided you right now pick this opportunity in terms of learning skills, pick up stuff that is practical. Don't pick up things from certification standpoint, because when companies hire, they are
True.
going to look at a guy who's going to, or a lady who's going to, hit the ground running.
So
I
that is
hope I
what,
kind of
yeah.
answer. Yeah.
So that is what you need to be more honest to yourself. That is what you said. That is something very realistic and to be followed. But also, Nimish, in my view, the life is getting tougher. I think you also need to get more tougher, or, than the problems. So that is also will be there,
Yes.
and that will really help to face any kind of situations tomorrow. And yes, you need to take up any kind of opportunities coming on your way. Pick it up. That's what Nimish's tip is all about today. And be honest to yourself, and be ready to face any kind of new skills coming on your way. Value additions to your CV will definitely help. And of course, this is a downfall, and how much of a downfall happens, but it is all going to be bounce back. That is what Nimish's take. Thank you so much, Nimish. I think
One,
it's
My
a
pleasure,
great
sir.
session.
one second.
Sorry.
But 1 second, I said before we conclude, one more person from our audience raising hand. Can we take that in, Namish?
Uh,
Take his one last question.
sure. Let that be the last one. Yeah.
Yes. Indrajit. Is he there?
Okay, I couldn't see his.
Yeah, he's
Hi, Indrajit.
Yes, am I audible now?
Yeah, very much.
Am I audible now? Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yes.
you are
So,
audible,
good evening,
Indrajit.
sir. Yeah.
Yeah, can you
So,
come on
thank
the
you so much
screen,
for the
please?
session.
Thank you, Indrajit. Please go ahead.
So, there is some, yes.
Okay.
So, I have two questions, sir. First question,
Okay, go ahead.
about this session itself, like even if you're given a mentor to us, basically we don't know what you're supposed to do with the mentor, what you're expected out of the mentor itself. So some of the mentors do ask a question that what do you expect from us? So how the need gap can be, because we don't have that clarity in our mindset itself, like what we exactly want in our life. So how that bridge can be cleared? That's the first question, sir. And what dimension should be added from the mentor's perspective, because so
Okay,
there is some internet issues.
I've got that question. Indrajit, I think you're asking how to make use of this new joker called mentor. Is that the question in nuts and bolts?
Yes, sir. And the next question, sir, as you from the Naukri.com, sir, and we see the revenues the job opportunities are falling. Almost 40% has been reduced over the month of April or May, if I'm correct with my numbers. So, what are the sectors mostly? If you have to pick three sectors which you're going to do after this COVID era recession is going to get over by another 3-4 months, which are the three sectors you would actually bet on the students should work mostly, that they can have a better career perspective per se. Yes.
Cool. Indrajit, very quickly, I'll try and answer your second one first. I'm not at the liberty right now to discuss financial numbers of the company. We are a listed company. Quarter 1 results are still awaited. So I'm not going to kind of directly address that. But from data, what we see right now is the sectors that are doing well are healthcare, pharma, telecom, uh, Medicare, IT, is doing reasonably, it is less impacted. Everybody has some or the other kind of an impact, but it is slightly less impacted. The sectors that
EdTech is one part which is doing very well.
Internet e-com is the one that I was talking about. Now, within internet e-com, companies who have less reliance on complex supply chain, these companies are doing well, especially things like edtech, fintech. These industries are doing reasonably well. In terms of what companies will bounce back, see, it'll be a guesstimate right now. Okay, we know for sure that sooner than later, things will normalize. Okay, and industries which are impacted will come back to expand. There are new business models that will emerge because necessity is the mother of all inventions. Some of these business models were any which way is not very efficient. Now with this pandemic, people will be forced to drive innovation in these sectors. And I'm pretty sure they'll be back and bouncing around with job offers, etc. Let's hope that happens, but it is still a guesstimate. I don't have any data on that. What we know for sure is what I've kind of stated. Now, very quickly, Indrajit, taking your first question in terms of how to make use of a mentor.
Right.
We can make, you and me together can make 25 YouTube videos on that. Okay. It's a very, very interesting subject. But like every other relationship in life, it is about trial and error. That's what works. Okay. So keep asking if you have a mentor, and if he's a person who doesn't mind asking you question, which I'm hoping he or she would. Keep asking questions. Just keep asking questions. Over a period of time, you would realize what value the mentor is making.
Right.
And where you think he's making or she's making more value, keep asking more questions. You have to, use this asset called mentor. It's a great asset. You have to use it fully. And unless you, if you try and hold yourself back, यार ये नहीं पूछ सकते, ये थोड़ा personal है, ये थोड़ा life वाला है, फलाना है, ढिकाना है, सबकी life में होता है सब. Okay, a mentor is a human being at the end of the day. So if you want a life advice, sometimes they give you fantastic life advice. Okay.
Yeah.
So keep asking questions, and you will, of course, establish a relationship over a period of time, and you would yourself realize that this is off limits and this is something which he loves to answer or she loves to explore, and there goes your relationship.
I hope that is very well answered, Indrajit. Yeah. And you can keep on asking questions, but that was the last question, unfortunately. Thank you so much. And if you require more questions to be answered, we can take it up over the mail with Namish.
Cool, guys. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Suresh, for inviting me.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Over to Urvi. Or sorry, Mahima. Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nimish sir and Suresh sir. It was a very great session. Me personally, being a final year mechanical engineering student, it has really helped me a lot because I am actually on the verge of that now. So thank you so much, and thank you everybody for connecting with us live and on Zoom. So before we wrap up, I just would like to request all of you to switch on your camera so that we can have a photograph. Uri ma'am?
Done.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. All those watching us on YouTube, there are a lot more webinars down there. You can watch them, and there are many more coming up. So please do like, share, subscribe, and comment at the channel. And yeah, hopefully we will connect to you back soon on such webinars. Do follow us on LinkedIn and the social media pages as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. Now we
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Namish.
Thank
See you.
Sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Oh, Neha, you're looking so fresh. Anyways, yeah, Dheeraj, you want to say something?